a masjid. I can never live without bread, though. Oh, you see our priorities? But that's another story for another time. But I'll wrap it up together. The purpose behind sharing these dark ingredients that we as Americans are constantly consuming is for us to become more conscious of what we eat. You know, you'll find a dime a dozen documentaries by non-Muslims on food. Am I right or wrong, guys? If you have a Netflix account, just go through documentaries, you'll find a dime a dozen on the harms of this, the harm of that, the harms of this, the harm of that. The meat industry. It's not even a matter of whether the meat is halal or not. The question here is how these animals are treated, and that's a whole different story that I'm definitely not going to talk about. But it's very sad. And when the reality is that Muslims should have been the ones who took lead in this conversation. Until we don't stop talking about issues publicly and raising our voice on issues publicly that relate to our public image, and we don't talk about issues that relate to the concern of the community at large, people won't take us seriously. Because they'll only view us as a part of the community that only rises up when they're attacked, but aren't interested in the welfare of human beings. But if we took lead in these issues and talked about these issues and asked for change, change occurs. By the way, that blogger that I talked about, her raising her voice on this issue, what did it lead to? A real change. It led to a real change. There was a product that was problematic that now became that the problem was removed. So I think it's important for us to acknowledge. I think that's very important. We can't live in denial of it. As for what the brother said, and Jazakallah khairan for bringing that up, because it's very easy to walk out of gatherings like this where you're told about, I didn't even tell you about half of it, I just said 5 things. And everyone's already like, oh my God, it's on everyone's face, what are we going to do? As far as the fiqh of it goes, what did I say? The fiqhi ruling of this. Understand this. I'm going to share a ruling with you. I won't explain how this ruling works because that would require a lot of time, but I'll explain something to you. The ulama have created a threshold of the quantity of an ingredient in a particular product. If it surpasses that and it has a haram element to it, they will write it off immediately. Do you guys understand? Well, let's say, for example, you were eating a bread and there was a hair sticking out. What would they say? This is haram because it has a significant presence in the food. As opposed to some ingredients that are so minute and so small in certain foods that accounting for them in every food product you eat will lead you to being in a place where you are no longer able to eat anything at all. And this framework they created is a result of something in Arabic we call haraj. What's the word? Haraj means being in a difficult situation that people can't live with. So, for example, you'll find some of them, there's a big issue with alcohol in foods. You guys understand that? Have you ever had vanilla ice cream before? Yeah, of course we all have. I love vanilla ice cream, right? One of the most common ingredients in vanilla, I'm not saying it's haram, I actually eat it, I'm telling you. One of the common ingredients in vanilla extract, in order to extract vanilla flavor, what do you need? You have to use alcohol. So whenever you have something vanilla flavored, there will be an element of alcohol in it. That's why it is a thing. But you'll find when it comes to, so that's a reality, but that's not the fatwa. Remember this, whenever you give a legal ruling, there's a process to it. And just because you know one thing doesn't mean that you will have like a black and white conclusion that because, you need alcohol to extract vanilla, therefore the vanilla is haram. That's not how it works. The fuqaha have created a threshold. That, under this particular amount, and there's a line, it's not just vague, there's a line in how they come to that conclusion. This is the part where I won't talk about. But I just want you to know that a lot of these ingredients I listed right now, be it carmine, be it L-cysteine, be it your alcohol and your vanilla flavoring, a lot of these things are in trace amounts. How much am I talking about? Small amounts. Trace is probably underselling it, but not large amounts. And because of that, fuqaha have accepted to neglect them and ignore them and continue to say that it's permissible to eat these things. However, I feel like if we know that there's something wrong, but we're accepting it to be done under the banner of haraj, we should be constantly working towards fixing the problem. Because the problem isn't going to fix itself. Do you guys understand that? The problem isn't just going to fix itself. We have to get into it. So anyway, I close off reminding parents that we should take the initiative and responsibility of not giving our kids donuts every day and not giving them candy all the time. And if that's something that you're doing, there's an accountability with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. For not looking after the physical well-being of your children. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us the ability to make good intentions, follow through on good intentions, and to be people who live a physical and spiritual healthy life. Wa sallallahu ta'ala wa sallam.
We have a 5 minutes. If anybody wants to ask a question, you have it at
Sure.
8:45.
What did you eat when you tried to finish your his program?
What did I eat?
What did you change?
What?
I stopped eating chocolate, stopped eating chips, stopped drinking soda. It was really miserable. I'm telling you, as a kid, all of that being taken away overnight was like, I wondered what the purpose of life was. I was kind of puzzled and lost. Honestly, I'll tell you one thing. If you're from a home where people cook at home, where you cook the ingredients at home, it's not so difficult to live by an organic and wholesome lifestyle. The problem is for people who are used to microwave meals. They have a big problem. In the madrasa that I studied, alhamdulillah, they already cook fresh meals every day. So the teacher said, in the madrasa, we grow everything here. We know the people who grow things. We know the people that we buy stuff from. It's a Muslim community. Like, we know all of these people. So we'll take care of the meals on our part. For me, it was more about adjusting the things that I snacked on. And I went from eating all the junk food that everyone eats to focusing more on just eating like fruits and drinking milk and drinking water. And it wasn't that big of an adjustment, to be honest with you, for me.
Quality and quantity.
The quality, yeah, it was just the quantity of what I was eating, and also the shift didn't matter. He by the way, FYI, with me, he said to my mother that he could eat as much as he wants. He didn't restrict me when it came to quantity. He restricted me when it came to the quality, how much I was eating. This is the restriction that he placed on me. Now, liquor and chocolate is a bigger issue. Well, honestly, I don't know. You're the chef. So you know better than I would. Maybe we can spend another gathering, another day where we talk more about some of these ingredients. It'll be a rough discussion, but we'll do it anyway. If that's something that you guys would like, we can sit together and talk about it. The reason why I'm reluctant of talking about these sort of issues is because I feel like rather than becoming a solution-based community, we become a haram police. And this is really annoying. When you have one group that goes around saying haram, 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 while they're not working towards a solution. I think we need to talk about these issues so we can work towards a solution. That's what I'm interested in. And what benefit is there in telling people everything's haram in the world? Like you were saying, what's the benefit of that? If they don't have solutions. So if we have a group of people that are interested in working towards a solution, then we can have a discussion. There are people, by the way, in our communities, I can't speak for Tulsa, but I know for California, for Chicago, for some of the bigger Muslim communities, where there are people that have taken the step to provide more wholesome, more pure foods to the community, but the Muslims in the community didn't support. Does that make sense? Like if there's someone that starts up a business, starts up a movement, the Muslim community needs to support that person too. And if there's a Muslim guy that starts up a grocery store or starts up anything, and the Muslim community isn't supporting that person, then what's going to happen to that business? So there's also this again, ethical responsibility that we have.
They don't like to go other than the famous food.
Walmart.
Then they want to purchase and take that one. If we tell them that we cook this one, chicken, it is from the Islamic source, all drained, blood is drained, we give them all the good reasons, but still they don't want to have it. They go for the whatever is.
Maybe that's a discussion we can have another day, inshallah. We'll stop here. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.